The WESSEX Formation, located mainly on the Isle of Wight in southern England, dates back to the early Cretaceous and is part of the Wealden group. It represents a predominantly continental environment with rivers, lakes and swamps, reflecting a subtropical climate. The paleo environment is considered to have been semi-arid. The dominant trees were conifers of the extinct family Chirolepidiaceae belonging to the genera Pseudophrenolopsis and Watsoniocladus, both of which have reduced xerophytic leaves adapted to arid conditions. The ground cover is thought to have consisted of xerophytic ferns. Wildfires were common occurrences, as evidenced by preserved charred vegetation. The WESSEX Formation likely spans several million years of deposition, and not all following taxa are likely to have been contemporaneous. Invertebrates are frequently preserved within the WESSEX Formation. Bivalves help reconstruct the freshwater paleo environment during the formation's deposition. Unlike the compression fossils of insects found in the overlying Vectis Formation, all insect fossils in the WESSEX Formation are preserved as inclusions in amber. Amber is a rare component of the plant debris beds found in both the Isle of Wight and the Isle of Purbeck sections of the formation. However, the only significant concentration, where all amber inclusions have been found, occurs in a lag channel within the L6 plant debris horizon, southeast of Chiltern Chine. Only 4 species from this amber have been formally described: Cretamygale, a mygalomorph spider, 2 chironomid midges, Dungiella and Libinodiomesa, and Embolomopsis mariani, a parasitic wasp. England appears to have been an island during the time of this formation, with many marine animals, including sharks, rays, and fish, having been found. This suggests a coastal environment with warm, shallow waters. Hybodus is a cosmopolitan genus of shark found in many other geological formations. It may represent what is referred to as a basket taxon, a group used to categorize similar but potentially unrelated species due to their widespread distribution and common features. Its varied dentition would have allowed it to opportunistically exploit a variety of food sources. Sharper teeth would have been used to catch slippery prey, while the flatter teeth probably helped them crush shelled creatures. The males also possessed claspers, specialized organs that directly insert sperm into the female, and which are still present in modern sharks. Lonchidion is another cosmopolitan hybodont shark, but the genus appears to be more valid taxonomically. It is small in size, and for a long time, it was thought that these might be juvenile organisms. However, only teeth have been found, making it difficult to fully assess the species' biology and growth stages. Protospinax is a difficult taxon to accommodate in taxonomies. A 2023 study found it to be a squalomorph shark. One analysis placed it closest to angel sharks and saw sharks, but the authors concluded that its exact position within Squalomorphiae is ultimately tentative due to a lack of unambiguous supporting traits. Fish from the early Cretaceous found in southern England include both marine and freshwater species, highlighting the region's diverse ecosystems during this time. They are often well preserved, with many fossils showing detailed skeletal structures, including teeth or full body. This exceptional preservation provides valuable insights into their morphology and the environmental conditions of the region during that period. Fossils of Belenostomus have been found worldwide in marine deposits, although some species are known from freshwater habitats. It likely consumed plankton or other small fish. In this formation, the genus has only been identified by a few teeth. Small reptile genera are common in this formation, with lizards and numerous semi-aquatic turtles being found. Notably, many shells and skulls have been preserved. Crocodiles were also abundant and diverse in the early Cretaceous, and the number of genera discovered in this formation confirms this, although many of these crocodiles were primarily small in size. At only 60 centimeters in length, Bernissartia is one of the smallest crocodiliforms that ever lived. It resembled modern species in many respects, and was probably semi-aquatic. It had long, pointed teeth at the front of the jaws that would have been of use in catching fish, but broad and flat teeth at the back of its jaws that were suited for crushing hard food, such as shellfish and possibly bones. Theriosuchus is characterized by its long, slender snout, which was likely adapted for catching fish and other aquatic prey. The limbs were also modified for swimming, indicating a highly aquatic lifestyle. These animals thrived in coastal and shallow marine environments. They likely inhabited lagoons and estuaries. Caulkicephalus had to be reconstructed from several fragments before its classification as an ornithocarid pterosaur became clear, showcasing specialized fish-catching dentition. While only the replacement teeth within the jaw were preserved, the size of the teeth could be inferred from the tooth sockets, with the largest teeth located in the third pair from the tip of the snout. The forward-projecting teeth increased the catch area, allowing Caulkicephalus to effectively snatch fish from the water. Istiodactylus was originally known as Ornithopsis since 1913 until it was determined that some associated remains belonged to a theropod dinosaur, prompting the name change. This pterosaur featured a distinctive rounded beak, leading to its description as a duck-billed pterosaur. The beak contained laterally compressed teeth that were small and closely spaced at the front, allowing Istiodactylus to effectively slice through flesh. Uktenadacatylus is known only from a single fragment of its snout, measuring approximately 16 centimeters, representing the distal end of the upper jaw. The jaw ends in a blunt vertical surface with a triangular shape, featuring 8 pairs of teeth. The first pair points forward while the others point downward, and the second and third pairs are notably thicker. When fully formed, the skull would have been about 80 to 90 centimeters long, suggesting a wingspan of 4 to 4.5 meters, consistent with other ornithocarids known for their aerial fish-catching adaptations. Wightia lived about 130 million years ago, and its remains were found in rocks deposited in a semi-arid floodplain, and is the first tapogerid known from the WESSEX formation. Tapogerids like Wightia are generally considered fruit-eating pterosaurs, and their evolution has been linked to the spread of flowering plants in the early Cretaceous. Most tapogerids have large fan-shaped soft tissue crests on the upper surface of their skulls, anchored by 2 bony prongs, one above their nostrils, and the other on the back of their skulls. Many dinosaurs have been found in this formation. Iuticosaurus was probably similar to Titanosaurus. It measured 15 to 20 meters long. Most researchers have concluded that both species of Iuticosaurus cannot be distinguished from other titanosaurs and are therefore nomina dubia. Chondrosteosaurus was described and named by Richard Owen in 1876, with fossils discovered on the Isle of Wight. It is known only from two neck vertebrae, which exhibit distinctive hollows and internal passages now interpreted as evidence of pneumatic air sacs. While Owen acknowledged the possibility of these cavities being connected to the lungs, he disagreed with Harry Seeley's interpretation of the structures and viewed the internal passages as filled with cartilage rather than supporting the idea of a giant creature bridging birds or pterosaurs. The vertebrae of Eucamerotus are around 20 centimeters long. If it was a brachiosaurid, it may have been around 15 meters long, quite small for a sauropod. As any kind of sauropod, it would have been a quadrupedal herbivore. The Ornithopsis hulkai holotype is basically a centrum lacking the neural spine. The vertebra is heavily pneumatized, filled with large cavities, camellae. It is narrow, tall, has a ridge on the underside, is episthocoelous, and has a posteriorly placed deep subtriangular pleurocoel over 2/3 of its length. These features are compatible with a placement within the titanosauriforms. Polacanthus was a quadrupedal ornithischian dinosaur. It lived 130 to 125 million years ago in what is now Western Europe. Polacanthus foxii was named after a find on the Isle of Wight in 1865. There are not many fossils remains of this creature, and some important anatomical features, such as its skull, are poorly known. Early depictions often gave it a very generic head as it was only known from the rear half of the creature. It grew to about 5 meters long. Its body was covered with armor plates and spikes. It possibly was a basal member of the Nodosauridae. Vectipelta is likely millions of years older than Polacanthus. For virtually 142 years, all ankylosaur remains from the Isle of Wight have been assigned to Polacanthus foxii, a famous dinosaur from the island. Now all of those finds need to be revisited because we've described this new species. In fact, Vectipelta was found to be most closely related to some Chinese ankylosaurs, suggesting dinosaurs moved freely from Asia to Europe in the early Cretaceous. Vectidromeus was a small dinosaur, slightly larger than a chicken. A type of Hypsilophodontid, it shared its environment with early Spinosaurs and Iguanodon, and is closely related to Hypsilophodon. The discovery of a juvenile partial skeleton in the WESSEX Formation on the Isle of Wight indicates that Europe had its own unique family of small herbivorous dinosaurs, distinct from those found in Asia and North America, highlighting the isolation and diversity of dinosaur evolution on different continents after Pangaea's breakup. Early paleontologists had various models for Hypsilophodon, a small, bipedal, herbivorous dinosaur, with suggestions ranging from a quadrupedal climber to a fully arboreal animal. In particular, Othenio Abel proposed that its first toe could function as an opposable hallux, indicating a tree-dwelling lifestyle. However, Peter Galton's 1969 analysis of the musculoskeletal structure demonstrated that it had a horizontal body posture and was primarily a bipedal runner, ultimately convincing the paleontological community of its terrestrial lifestyle. Galton assigned Valdosaurus to the Hypsilophodontidae, but this paraphyletic unnatural group has largely been abandoned. Today Valdosaurus is generally considered a member of the Dryosauridae. Having a close European relative of the American form Dryosaurus named led to most of the Dryosaurid fossil material of Europe being referred to Valdosaurus. It was seen as not only present in England but probably also in Spain. Mantellisaurus was a lightly constructed iguanodont. Compared to Iguanodon, it was smaller, estimated at 750 kilograms in weight. Its forelimbs were proportionally shorter than those of Iguanodon. In Mantellisaurus the forelimbs were about half the length of the hind limbs, whereas they were about 70% the length of the hind limbs in Iguanodon. Due to the short length of its forelimbs and the shortness of its body, Paul proposed that it was primarily bipedal, only going on all fours when standing still or moving slowly. It is known from many complete and almost complete skeletons. The genus name honors Gideon Mantell, the discoverer of Iguanodon. Comptonatus was about the size of a large male American bison, weighing around a ton. Evidence from nearby fossil footprints suggests it was likely a herding animal, possibly forming large groups that thundered across floodplains when threatened by predators. It is one of the most complete iguanodontian dinosaur specimens found in the UK in a century, offering valuable insights into the rapid evolution of iguanodontians and the ecosystems that recovered after a potential extinction event at the end of the Jurassic period. One feature that immediately stands out about Brighstoneus is the enlarged nasal bone, which would have supported a bulla-like feature with convex sides on the tip of the snout. Like other hadrosauriform dinosaurs, it would have been an herbivore. Possible predators of Brighstoneus might include the dinosaur Neovenator. Amidst these few species of iguanodonts lived the famous Iguanodon, which was much larger and had a much wider distribution. However, this genus was not a contemporary of the others, rather, it was a descendant that lived a few million years later, also traversing the same region. Large three-toed footprints found in early Cretaceous rocks in England, particularly the Wealden beds on the Isle of Wight, were initially challenging to interpret, with some authors suggesting they were dinosaur tracks as early as 1846. The identity of the track makers became clearer with the discovery of a young iguanodon hind leg in 1857, which had distinctly three-toed feet, supporting the idea that these dinosaurs could have made the tracks. Although often attributed to Iguanodon, direct connections remain difficult due to the poor quality of some trackway evidence, including instances that suggest an Iguanodon moving on all fours. A 2023 study by Barker and colleagues, utilizing CT scans of the brain cases of Ceratosuchops and Belenostomus, found that their brain anatomy resembled that of other non-Maniraptoriform theropods, indicating that their neurosensory capabilities were unremarkable. The researchers concluded that the transition of baryonychines from terrestrial hypercarnivores to semi-aquatic generalists likely did not require significant modifications to their brain and sensory systems, suggesting that spinosaurids may have been pre-adapted for aquatic prey detection or that only changes to the mouth bones were necessary. Spinosaurids are among the most distinctive yet poorly understood large-bodied theropod dinosaurs, characterized by their elongated, laterally compressed snouts and subconical teeth. Newly identified species Ceratosuchops and Riparovenator differ not only from the previously known Spinosaurid baryonyx but also from each other, indicating greater Spinosaurid diversity in the UK. Both are estimated to be around 9 meters long and may have employed hunting strategies similar to herons, targeting both aquatic and terrestrial prey. It is generally thought that large predators occur with small taxonomic diversity in any area due to ecological demands, yet many Mesozoic assemblages include 2 or more sympatric theropods that were comparable in size and morphology, and this also appears to have been the case for Spinosaurids. Neovenator is one of the best-known theropod dinosaurs from the early Cretaceous of Europe. At 7.5 meters for the type specimen, and isolated remains suggesting even larger individuals, it is one of the larger theropod dinosaurs known from Europe. Despite its large size, however, the bones of Neovenator indicate that it was of a slender, gracile build. This would have reduced weight and increased its speed, suggesting a predatory lifestyle more suited for faster prey. The WESSEX Formation, where Eotyrannus was found, was considered to have been warm and humid, similar to the present-day Mediterranean. However, there is evidence of a phase of increasing aridity during the late Barremian to early Aptian when Eotyrannus lived. In the WESSEX Basin, sedimentological evidence, as well as fossils such as mud cracks, suggests that the area experienced a warm, equable paleoclimate with a mean annual temperature of 20 to 25 degrees Celsius with low seasonal rainfall. As it is only known from isolated vertebrae, little is known about the appearance of Ornithopsis. The neural spines of the vertebrae are fused and form a blade over the 10 cm long sacrum, which is slightly arched. The bases of the neural spines form a lateral platform, and the first two vertebrae of the sequence have deep hollow cavities, which formed space for air sacs. Based on its apparent identity as a dromaeosaur, it was probably carnivorous, and likely measured about 1.8 meters long in life. Aristosuchus was a bipedal, meat-eating theropod dinosaur. This predator is thought to have been about 2 meters and is estimated to have weighed about 30 kilograms. It shared many characteristics with birds. 2 ungual phalanges were found nearby, which may have been from the same animal and would suggest long claws. Although only a few bones have been found, it is expected that Vectoraptor resembled other eudromaeosaurian dinosaurs, such as the well-known Deinonychus from North America, suggesting ongoing faunal exchanges between North America and Europe during the early Cretaceous. Analysis of growth patterns in the fossil bones indicates that the holotype of Vectoraptor was between 20 and 30 years old at the time of its death. As a possible basal coelurosaur, Calamasaurus would have been a small, agile, bipedal carnivore. Naish and colleagues estimate the living animal would have been around 3 to 5 meters long, with a small head given the build of the neck vertebrae. Much has been speculated about Richaardoesthesia, but little is known for certain regarding this dinosaur. It is characterized by slender, long jaws with small, finely serrated teeth, likely belonging to either the Dromaeosauridae or Troodontidae families, featuring 5 to 6 serrations per millimeter that have helped attribute additional teeth to the genus. Yaverlandia is only known from a partial skull fossil, and was originally thought to be a pachycephalosaurid. However, later analyses showed that it was actually a theropod, supposedly a Maniraptoran. Without more material, however, we can't know more about this dinosaur. As a possible oviraptorosaurian, Calamaspondylus would have been a small, agile, bipedal carnivore. Naish and colleagues estimate the living animal would have been around 2 meters long. Molar teeth of small mammals has been found in this formation too. Spalacotheriid mammals, like Yaverlests, are characterized by having molar teeth with 3 molar cusps sitting at acute angles to one another. The shape of their teeth as well as their long lower jaw indicate a carnivorous or insectivorous diet. In the early Cretaceous, the WESSEX Formation experienced a warm, semi-arid climate that fostered diverse ecosystems. The landscape was dominated by Mediterranean-like forests, featuring a mix of ferns, conifers and early flowering plants, which created a rich habitat for various species. This vegetation provided ample food sources for a range of herbivorous dinosaurs and pollinizing insects, supporting a complex web of life. Additionally, the presence of freshwater bodies likely contributed to a variety of semi-aquatic habitats, allowing for the coexistence of different species. Overall, the ecological dynamics of the WESSEX Formation reflect a thriving and diverse environment during this period.